Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, January 11, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you guys utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section, but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because you know that the videos over here at Weather Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the that's been like in your ear recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro model run that just came out at 3:30 p.m. today. So we're going to be focusing our eyes on the timestamp right here as we go to the next 168 hours. We're looking for this that we see on the key on the right: the reds, the oranges, the yellows, the greens represent inches of rainfall. And we're going to be focusing our attention as well right here on us here in Jamaica. As usual, we're looking at the Euro model first, then the GFS that came out at 6 p.m. today. Alright, so let's go out in time. We can see that as we head into Sunday, there could be some amount of afternoon rainfall for sure. We see some dots of greens around and across the island. This is 18th on Sunday, which is actually 1 p.m. Very interesting. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Maybe some isolated afternoon rainfall. Heading into Monday, we see some dots of green in and around the island, but nothing as significant as what we're expecting on Sunday. Heading into Tuesday, definitely less rainfall, but we do see some dots of greens across the northeast, maybe sections of Portland. Wednesday, not much of anything. We do see a lot of showers across the Gulf of Mexico right there, though, associated with some frontal systems, if not some troughs. As we head into Thursday, look at all of this moisture across northeastern Jamaica. Look at this moisture across the southern Caribbean into the eastern Caribbean. Very interesting. Heading into Friday, we see the moisture that was across the Gulf of Mexico now pushing eastward towards southern Florida and the Bahamas right there. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Saturday, January 18. And we do see a lot of moisture to the south of Jamaica, intersection of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, as well as the ABC Islands, to the south of Hispaniola, to the south of Puerto Rico, across the Leeward Islands for sure. Let us match this latest Euro model to the latest GFS model. Let's see if we have any agreement. So as we head into Sunday, we do see the moisture that's going to be plaguing portion of the island. We see it here on the GFS, just like what the Euro was showing. Heading into Monday, definitely less rainfall than we're experiencing on Sunday, just like what the Euro was showing. Tuesday, not much of anything according to the latest GFS. Wednesday, something similar. We do see some dots of greens across the northeast, something similar to what the Euro was showing at that time. And then as we head into Friday, not much of anything across the island, but clearly at the end of the 168 hours, we see some moisture across northeastern parishes. We also see that moisture that's expected to plague section of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, the waters to the south of Hispaniola, across the ABC Islands, all the way up into the Leeward Islands. So we see some agreement and we see some slight differences for sure. Either way, both maps are in agreement for the most part. So there's high certainty in what's going to be happening over the next 7 days, and even the accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in consensus with what's going to be happening. We know the most in for rainfall over the next 7 days is represented by what we see here on the key on the right: the reds, the burgundies, the purples, the pinks into the salmon or peach colors. And clearly we see that both maps are in consensus that the most rainfall over the next 7 days should be plaguing these areas right here, like the waters of the Gulf of Mexico, section of the Yucatan Peninsula, northern Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, eastern Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, western Venezuela, the ABC Islands, and sections of the eastern Caribbean. right here to the south of Guadeloupe. We're talking about Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia getting in on some of that action. And clearly we see that the GFS is showing something similar with where the most rainfall is expected over the next 7 days. So clearly we might just get some isolated flash flooding taking place, especially where we have those purples into the pinks across southeastern Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, for sure. We'll see exactly what happens, and I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Either way, if we take a look at the close-up of Jamaica, we see that the most rainfall, not much has changed, should be across northern parishes. We see the blues into the greens into the yellows. That represents anywhere from 5 millimeters all the way up to 50 millimeters. Look at this. This is saying 53 millimeters of rainfall over the next 7 days, especially across Portland. Very interesting. Some of this might spill into sections of St. Andrew, sections of St. Thomas. Even the GFS is adamant that the most rainfall over the next 7 days should be across the northeast, Portland, St. Mary for sure. But we see more and we have those dark blues that represents up to 10, maybe all the way up to 15 millimeters of rainfall. Nothing as significant as what the Euro was showing with all of those greens and the yellows at all. Either way, I'll keep you posted with what occurs on our other social media platforms. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see some broken orange lines right here across Florida associated with a trough. We can see a blue spike line right here stretching from the northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down into southern Florida, the northern Bahamas, and the eastern portions of the Gulf associated with a cold front. We see a ridge of high pressure right here. We see another ridge of high pressure somewhere up here. And we know that they're responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And it's the easterly trade winds that's definitely stringing along this frontal system and caused it to induce a trough stretching from east to west, from the eastern Caribbean all across the central Caribbean to the southwestern Caribbean. All of that easterly flow is making that frontal system now trough, stretching out across the Caribbean in general. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out all of these entities. We can see the clouds associated with the frontal system and the trough that has induced, reaching all the way into portion of the central to the western Caribbean. Some of these clouds even affected section of Jamaica today. We can also make out the clouds associated with the trough affecting portions of Florida, as well as the clouds associated with that frontal system right here as well. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Saturday, January 11, 2025. It was stated that rainfall was in the forecast for parts of some central and eastern parishes on Saturday afternoon. And we know central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. While eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. And what ended up happening? As early as around 3:25 p.m., the visible satellite images were not only posted on our Twitter page here at Weather Jamaica, but they were also posted on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we may post throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So taking a look at the visible satellite images that were posted, we can see that we had some clouds blanketing sections of some central and eastern parishes, and we definitely had some clouds building, especially across inland areas of some central parishes. And we're talking about northern Manchester, southeastern Trelawney, southwestern St. Anne, maybe section of northern Clarendon might have gotten some of the action. And we also saw some clouds building and sitting on top of the hills of Portland for sure, the mountainous areas as well. We also saw a lot of clouds coming in from the east towards St. Thomas, and we also saw before the day was done that some of these clouds from the east started to come into portions of eastern St. Thomas, as well as from the south across sections of some central and western parishes pushing towards the north. So it was mainly overcast, especially as we started to wrap up the day, as some of the clouds from the trough started to push northward. We can see all of that pushing in across sections of some central and western parishes for sure, while the clouds from the east were starting to come into section of St. Thomas. And even while we're speaking, the infrared satellite images are still showing some amount of cloud cover across section of the island as we speak. Not gonna see much stars tonight, if not a moon, as there's definitely some cloudy conditions. But clearly, the most in the way of thunderstorm activities way off towards our south. And we have the live camera here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing the flat bridge, highlighting the fact that it was definitely overcast in that part of St. Catherine for sure. We see that the rear cobra is definitely chilling as we speak. Not much of anything taking place at that time today at all in terms of bad weather. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams for your viewing pleasure, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. If we take a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint a picture of where we had that rainfall, just like what we saw in the visible satellite images. Sections of northern Manchester, southeastern Trelawney, southern St. Anne, sections of Portland, for sure definitely got in on the overcast skies and isolated shores, and even parts of far eastern St. Thomas with some of these clouds during the late evening hours or the early evening hours. And we definitely have some comments here from some of our subscribers. On our YouTube page, we have El Mulan 5716 stating Buff Bay, it's nice, cool and perfect for cozy relaxing. We also have Anne Maria Robinson Hi for Toast stating good night weather Jamaica, good night to you too. It's very cloudy here in Thornton, St. Elizabeth right now. Have a blessed night. Thank you very much for confirming that, Anne Maria. We also have on our Facebook page Sylvia Bando stating sunny, and we know that she lives in Brownstown, St. Anne. Thanks for confirming the weather in your area as well. Alright, so we're going to be looking at the latest still image from the Weather Nerds website. Let's see what's happening right now. Alright, so the latest still image is showing 0045 UTC, which is actually 7:45 p.m. And considering that it's 7:54 p.m. right now, this just came out 9 minutes ago, and we can definitely see that we still have some clouds covering the entire island. We see those milky whitish colors right here all across the island from east to west for sure. And if we take a look at the very latest Cuban Doppler radar imagery, we know the Cuban Doppler radar show the actual rainfall that's taking place as opposed to satellite images that show cloud cover, and we can have cloud cover over an area and not necessarily rainfall. This is why Doppler radar images are so crucial. Either way, the latest Doppler radar image is as of 7:50 p.m. and we do see the greens that we can see from the key on the right that represents moderado. Moderado represents moderate rainfall. We can see some of that to the east of St. Thomas. We can see some of that to the south of the island, right here to the south of St. Elizabeth too. And we don't see much across the island. What we see here could be ground clutter, it could also be rainfall, but I'm more inclined to believe that it's ground clutter. I doubt it's raining across St. Anne, Trelawney or St. James right now. Taking a look at the Guantanamo Bay Cuban naval radar imagery, we can make out some dots of greens represent some isolated shores to the east of St. Thomas, just like what we saw in the Cuban Doppler radar images. Not seeing much, by the way, across eastern Cuba or western portion of Haiti. But if we take a look at the Cayman radar, we can see that there's not much of anything happening across the Cayman Islands or the water surrounding it, or across southern Cuba. Most of the isolated shore activities right there to the southwest of Jamaica. Taking a look at the latest Barbican camera, you can see the live stream from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing that right now we have people in their vehicles going about their business, people walking on the road going about their business, and we can see that it's very dry, not much in the way of bad weather, rainfall or anything like that this evening. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Sunday, temperatures should dip down to about 23 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay as well as Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Sunday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Sunday, and we can see Jamaica right here embedded in some slight orange colors that we can see represent up to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of January, or around 86.5 degrees Fahrenheit. And when that's converted to degrees Celsius, that's around 30.2 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 30 to 32 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Sunday, especially midday onward. Definitely gonna be feeling warmer than normal, but the morning into the early afternoon hours definitely cool for the most part. And just like we stated, nothing from my JPS online regarding maintenance outages. These days it seems like only emergency outages are taking place, and we know the drill. These are usually due to some kind of vehicular accident. They've stated that a 30-minute JPS emergency outage is required to replace a broken pole caused by a motor vehicle accident. This will affect areas from Old Stony Hill to Lawrence Tavern, Glengough, and roads leading off. And it was from the time period from 11:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. and we saw the image right here. So clearly, even although they're not doing any maintenance outages these days, we still have some people on the road with their car accidents here and there. And then we know the drill. Power outages will ensue, and we know the power outages can definitely exacerbate the heat. We don't have our fan or AC to cool us down, making the temperatures feel even hotter than normal. But we're indeed grateful that according to their page, there is not any more outages that are expected. Yeah, so we're grateful for that. Either way, if tomorrow is still too hot for you, you have some tips right here to beat the heat. It states here, dress down, wear lightweight clothing, and use sunscreen. It also states, check on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions, and pets. Be cool, stay indoors, and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine, as they can make dehydration worse. And they've also stated, limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest part of the day, and drink lots of water throughout the day. Even if you're not thirsty, put away those sugary drinks, drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry ear map, we know that the dry ear is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, the whites within those reds. We can see there's a lot of dry ear all across the Atlantic basin in general, with the most right here of the east, across the eastern portion of the main development region, right here of the west coast of Africa, with those dark reds and whites within all of that. And we know the dry ear can definitely limit the amount of moisture and rainfall that we have in and around an area. We see that we have some moist air in and around Jamaica. We have that trough as we speak. Regarding the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Sunday, we can see some slight browns represent the Saharan dust across portion of the main development region, while North America, the Caribbean, Northern South America, and Central America are in the clear. And we're indeed grateful for that, because you know that the Saharan dust can definitely cause the very hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons. So we're grateful that the Saharan dust is way out there and not affecting anyone at this time. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, not much change at all. We see more light shades of blues to dark shades of blues all across the Caribbean. That represents anywhere from 0.5 of a meter wave height all the way up to 1.5 meter wave height. On Jamaica's north coast tomorrow, up to 0.6 of a meter wave height expected. Jamaica's south coast 1.1 meter wave height, and that's because of the winds that are expected. Clearly we see some dull greens into some bright greens, even some slight yellow colors. That represents maybe up to 25 knots right here off the east coast of Mexico, right here to the north of Colombia as usual. But we see a mostly easterly flow across the eastern to the central and western Caribbean, a mostly southeasterly flow across the Gulf of Mexico, and we see all of that definitely averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 knots, maybe even gusting to 20 knots, where we have those brighter greens. And if we take a closer look at Jamaica regarding the winds that are expected, we see more of an east-northeasterly flow on the north coast, more of an easterly flow on the south coast. So who knows, we might just have some of the clouds coming off of the sea intersection of St. Thomas. And then we know the drill, when we have that daytime heating and all of that air piling up, it might just have some isolated afternoon rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes. And with the upper level winds still coming in from the southwest, anything that happens, the high cold cloud tops will still be sheared off towards the northeast. Well, it doesn't look like we're still getting that upper level wind coming in from the southwest at all. Look at this huge upper level high pressure right here across the Caribbean. Seems like it's going to be coming in more from the south across the island tomorrow either way. So we'll see what happens. If we had an area of low pressure right here, could definitely possibly develop, who knows, but nothing significant taking place right now. No tropical waves, no broad areas of low pressure as we speak. All right, taking a look at the actual rainfall forecast map now. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 9 a.m. on Sunday, and we can see some blues represent rainfall across sections of the north as well as sections of the east. So maybe sections of St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, maybe sections of St. Thomas might get on some of the action. We see the GFS trying to incorporate sections of Trelawney, St. James, and Hanover, but not the Euro at all. We'll see exactly what unfolds at 9 a.m. Skipping ahead to about 4 p.m. now. Both the Euro and the GFS models are adamant that there could be some blues that represent isolated showers across sections of eastern, central, and western parishes by 4 p.m. We'll see exactly what unfolds if we actually get some isolated afternoon rainfall on Sunday. Even the accumulated precipitation forecast maps from the Euro and the GFS are adamant that the most rainfall should be plaguing eastern Jamaica tomorrow. The Euro showing up to 0.29 of an inch of rainfall across sections of Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Thomas. Portland showing up to 0.11 of an inch of rainfall across Kingston, St. Andrew. St. Thomas getting up to 0.13 of an inch. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Either way, we're in the month of January. We shall receive less rainfall this month. We're in our dry season. In Kingston, this bar graph is being shown right here at the top. We shall receive up to 20 millimeters of rainfall. That's close to an inch of rainfall. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we shall receive up to 3 inches of rainfall. That's about 75 millimeters of rainfall. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives for the month of January or for the entire year in terms of rainfall, you can visit www.weather-and-climate.com, and that website will show you that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters that we receive on the rain gauge. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the math. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have the clouds associated with the frontal system coming into section of Florida, the Bahamas, section of Mexico as we speak. The trough bringing a line of showers to the south of Hispaniola, into portion of Jamaica, heading into section of Honduras, Nicaragua as we speak. Not seeing much activity across sections of the ABC Islands, but we do see some isolated showers across sections of the Eastern Caribbean, and we're from Guadeloupe southward Dominica. We can also see some isolated showers across sections of Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana as usual. And if we load the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, let's see what's happening over there. Not much of anything happening right now. We do see some isolated showers, however, across eastern portion of Dominica and waters to the east of there. Loading the images from earlier today, though, we can see that not much of Puerto Rico or Dominican Republic was getting in on anything, but we do see the isolated showers coming into section of Dominica. Taking a look at the Barbados radar, not seeing much happening across Barbados, but we do see some isolated showers to the north and west of there, affecting sections of St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. Not seeing much happening across Barbados. Well, not Barbados, Grenada, or Tobago or Trinidad right now. But if we take a look at the weather via Doppler radar images, what do we see? Not much affecting the waters of the ABC Islands, but we do see some isolated shores to the east of Nicaragua pushing southwestward. And if we take a look at where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are in consensus that the most rainfall over the next 24 hours should be plaguing section of Guadeloupe, Dominica, section of eastern Jamaica, section of Haiti. We also, well, the GFS not so adamant about the Haiti thing, but the Euro is. We also see some isolated shores maybe across western Cuba, section of eastern Honduras, eastern Nicaragua, sections of southern Costa Rica, section of Panama, section of Colombia's western portions, not to mention section of Guyana and Suriname right there, and some of this might even spill into section of French Guyana. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast, and we know that when they're in consensus and in agreement like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.